Okay, let's talk about the president-elect, who is now preparing for those mass deportations during his first 100 days in office. That's what he says. The plan includes finishing the border wall and pinpointing the first group of migrants to be deported. Right now, several other countries are bracing for an influx of migrants. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez is along the U.S.-Mexico border in El Paso, Texas, and he joins me now to discuss. Camilo, so we just said in the introduction to you that he is potentially coming up with a list of who would be targeted first. What are you learning about that?
Well, Vlad, good morning. To carry out what he has promised will be the largest deportation operation in American history. President-elect Trump will likely make significant changes to U.S. immigration policy. We should expect the incoming administration to terminate current Biden administration policies, Vlad, that limit who ICE agents can arrest and deport from the country, allowing that agency to deport a broader population of people who are in the country illegally. Right now, the Biden administration is generally exempting migrants who are undocumented, who have lived here for many years without committing any crimes from deportation. That will likely end. We should also expect the incoming administration, Vlad, to reinstate immigration enforcement at work sites. That will entail ICE agents going into work sites like poultry plants, factories, and the like to round up undocumented workers who, again, are working and living in the U.S. illegally. That stopped under the Biden administration, but is likely to be reinstated. And of course, we have heard the incoming Trump administration talk about the idea of enlisting the help of the U.S. military, Vlad, to carry out this operation to at least some degree. We actually spoke to Border Czar Tom Homan, who told us that military planes could potentially be used to deport migrants to their home countries, including Mexico, which is right across this wall, that the military and the Department of Defense could also provide logistical and operational assistance by, for example, helping the Department of Homeland Security set up holding facilities near the U.S.-Mexico border to hold and detain migrants awaiting deportation. And incoming Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller has even talked about the idea, Vlad, of deputizing the National Guard to go out and arrest and deport undocumented immigrants. But of course, as you know, Vlad, all of these changes and policy proposals are likely to face legal, operational, and humanitarian challenges.
That's right, because under the Constitution, the United States military cannot be used against American citizens on U.S. soil. But Camilo, really quickly, the president has also talked about separating families where you have a child who was born in the United States and perhaps parents who are undocumented. That would face significant legal challenges because as an American citizen, that child would have rights, all of the rights ensured under the Constitution of all citizens in this country.
That is completely right, Vlad. To level set, there are about 4 million U.S. citizen children who are living with at least one parent who is an undocumented immigrant, who is an immigrant in the country illegally. That means that there are millions of children in what we can call mixed status households with varying degrees of immigration categories. And these children obviously cannot be deported because they are American citizens. ICE does not have the legal authority to deport them. But what the president-elect is saying and what his incoming borders are suggesting is that the families can return to the parent home countries together, that if the parent who is here illegally is targeted for arrest, that parent can make a decision to go back to Mexico or whatever that home country is with their U.S. citizen children. And that would be a self-deportation, if you will. It is still an open question, Vlad, if many people will actually take that option.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, not least of all that those children would still be American citizens and thus would not have the same rights as their parents in their home country. All right, Camilo, excellent reporting as always, my friend, in El Paso, Texas for us. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Vlad.